Hey everyone, it's Claire. I hope you're all having a really good skills day. I just wanted to go over the quality improvement project that I've been working on for the last 3 months here in your perioperative settings. For those of you who might not know me, I'm Claire Hoffman. I'm a St. Bonaventure MSN RN Master's Entry to Practice student who has been doing some research and analysis on how we can improve the operating room settings to give us the highest quality care for our patients as possible, which is, of course, UPMC Cole's mission. Here's my poster, and this reviews essentially what the problem is. And I decided to use a PICO question, which essentially covers just the who, what, where, when, and why, and covers everything. So my PICO was in our patients undergoing same-day surgeries, pediatric and adult patients. What temperature practices and training do we have currently compared to new solutions that we could find to help prevent perioperative hypothermia, which was either before, during, or after surgeries that I was looking at? So we all know that the biggest concern for hypothermia is, of course, the complications that come with it. So we see the delayed healing, surgical site infections, most importantly, and even prolonged recoveries, blood loss, and even increased levels of agitation and anxiety for after and future surgeries for patients, which was very interesting. I will say I was truly impressed with how well all of you followed the policies and the guidelines and how great your surgical site infection scores were, which led us to realizing that we didn't need any big medical equipment breakthrough to be introduced to the hospital. We didn't need any giant policy changes, but rather than just analyzing exactly what you guys do now and how we can perfect everything to a T. So, looking more into the poster for background of the problem, studies show that over 70% of trained clinicians taking a temporal thermometer temperature were actually performing the procedure incorrectly, even though they all had training. So, that was almost 3/4 of the trained clinicians that did have training in it, but they still were not doing it correctly from whatever the training was. And this was leading to a cause and effective data kind of an incidence where another 70% of patients were suspected to have mild hypothermia after surgery. So that's almost 3/4 of patients that would have a mild hypothermia as well, which was a very surprising number. And this did end up causing an effect where it related to a 6.3-fold higher increase of a chance of a surgical site infection. So looking at the graph on the right here, we can see the rates of temperatures are near perfect. And this was all data that I got from the EHR system through the Epic system, the new system that you guys had. So this was all your last 30 days of data from September to October. But the question for this graph was really how valid the data was when we were looking at getting accurate temperatures from taking the temporal thermometers and using them correctly. So it would be very interesting once we do a reanalysis if this project is implemented, that we can see if those hypothermia or normothermia rates change for you guys at all. So looking at an implementation plan in the middle, there's those three blue boxes. So it was called Lewin's change theory that I used, and it was very simple. It's a 3-step process where the first one for implementing this project was unfreezing. And this was kind of identifying where the problem was that we had with like taking temperatures and stuff. I want to thank Cassie. I was in the PACU one day, and this really led to a big part of this project was that we actually found that there were different brands and models of the thermometers. I did a cost analysis too and a brand analysis, and it showed that some thermometers that we had are actually for home, and then some thermometers that we have are actually meant for the PACU and the ICU. So we want to make sure that we're using the same brand and model, which I developed an entire plan inside that relates to the specific brand and model that we should be using and how to upkeep on those. It has a whole guide and even a nursing troubleshoot guide too with it. So that's pretty cool. So that would be really the first phase. And then the second phase that we're trying to move into would be the changing or the moving phase. And this essentially consists of us making that change and starting to implement that education, whether it's new guidelines, whether it's the educational tool below that you can see that I developed, or whether it's posters hanging up, or maybe you go through a training that does it step by step. And then the next one is going to be the refreezing stage, which is the last stage. And this is the analysis and essentially where people can conduct audits as well, managers specifically, maybe. And they want to be looking at how well we implemented this project and what we were doing. So this kind of encapsulates everything that I did that semester. And the perioperative nursing educational tool right below is something that I developed as well. And it does include that branded model specific to the thermometer, exactly how we should be taking it across the temporal artery to the forehead. And then it also goes over certain ways to calibrate it. And there were also different ways to clean it as well. Taking a Q-tip with an alcohol swab and going in through the middle every 2 weeks is something that surprised me because a lot of us I know, like myself, was taking the alcohol swabs and just going through, but I didn't realize that it was recommended to use a Q-tip sometimes as well. But this was pretty much my whole poster. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is listed directly on the poster. And I also want to thank you guys for being so incredible because there's no way that I would have really been able to do a project this great without the support of you guys and even the students that are a year below us have been really, really excited to hopefully come to Cole. So it's been a really great experience. And I can't thank you guys enough. All of you were great. And a special thank you to Katrina and Karen as well. You guys really helped me move forward in this and helped me identify the gaps in care. So I hope that this was helpful for all of you. And I hope that you guys all have a really great skills day. Thanks.